I knelt. She did not stoop towards me, but only gazed. Leaning back in her chair, she began muttering. The flame flickers in the eye. The eye shines like dew. It looks soft and full of feeling. It smiles at my jargon. It is susceptible. Impression follows impression through its clear sphere, where it ceases to smile. It is sad, and an unconscious lassitude waits on the lid that signifies melancholy, resulting from loneliness. It turns from me. It will not suffer further scrutiny. It seems to deny, by a mocking glance, the truth of the discoveries I have already made, to disown the charge both of sensibility and chagrin. Its pride and reserve only confirm me in my opinion. The eye is favourable. As to the mouth, it delights at times in laughter. It is disposed to impart all that the brain can conceive, though I dare say it would be silent on much the earth experiences. Mobile and flexible, it was never intended to be compressed in the eternal silence of solitude. It is a mouth which should speak much and smile often, and even human affection for its interlocutor. That feature, too, is propitious. I see no enemy to a fortunate issue but in the brow, and that brow professes to say, I can live alone, if self-respect and circumstances require me so to do. I need not sell my soul to buy bliss. I have an inward treasure, born with me, which can keep me alive if all extraneous delights should be withheld, or offered only at a price I cannot afford to give. The forehead declares, reason sits firm and holds the reins, and she will not let the feelings burst away and hurry her to wild chasms. The passions may rage furiously, like true heathens, as they are, and the desires may imagine all sorts of vain things, but judgment shall still have the last word in every argument, and the casting vote in every decision. Strong wind, earthquake shock, and fire may pass by, but I shall follow the guiding of that still small voice, which interprets the dictates of conscience. Well said, forehead. Your declaration should be respected. I form my plans, right plans I deem them, and in them I have attended to the claims of conscience, the counsels of reasons. I know how soon youth would fade and bloom perish, if in the cup of bliss offered but one dreg of shame or one flavour of remorse were detected, and I do not want sacrifice, sorrow, dissolution. Such is not my taste. I wish to foster, not to blight, to earn gratitude, not to wring tears of blood, nor of brine. My harvest must be in smiles, in endearments, in sweet. That will do. I think I rave in a kind of exquisite delirium. I should wish now to protect this moment ad infinitum, but I dare not. So far I have governed myself truly. I have acted as I inwardly swore I would act, but further might try me beyond my strength. Rise, Miss Eyre, leave me. The play is played out. Where was I? Did I wake or sleep? Had I been dreaming? Did I dream still? The old woman's voice had changed. Her accent, her gesture, and all were familiar to me as my own face in a glass, as the speech of my own tongue. I got up, but did not go. I looked. I stirred the fire, and I looked again, but she drew her bonnet and her bandage closer about her face, and again beckoned me to depart. The flame illuminated her hand stretched out. Roused now, and on the alert for discoveries, I at once noticed that hand. It was no more than withered limb of eld than my own. It was a rounded, supple member, with smooth fingers, symmetrically turned. A broad ring flashed on the little finger, and stooping forward, I looked at it, and saw a gem I had seen 100 times before. Again, I looked at the face, which was no longer turned from me. On the contrary, the bonnet was doffed, the bandage displaced, the head advanced. "Well, Jane, do you know me?" asked the familiar voice. "Only take off the red cloak, sir, and then—" "But the string is in a knot. Help me." "Break it, sir." "There, then, off ye landings." And Mr. Rochester stepped out of his disguise. "Now, sir, what a strange idea!" "But we'll carry it out, huh? Don't you think so?" "With the ladies you must have managed well." "But not with you?" "You did not act the character of a gypsy with me." "What character did I act? My own?" "No, some unaccountable one. In short, I believe you have been trying to draw me out or in. You have been talking nonsense to make me talk nonsense. It is scarcely fair, sir." "Do you forgive me, Jane?" "I cannot tell till I have thought it all over. If, on reflection, I find I have fallen into no great absurdity, I shall try to forgive you, but it was not right." "Oh, you have been very correct, very careful, very sensible." I reflected and thought on the whole I had. It was a comfort, but indeed I had been on my guard almost from the beginning of the interview. Something of masquerade I suspected. I knew gypsies and fortune-tellers did not express themselves as this seeming old woman had expressed herself. Besides, I had noted her feigned voice, her anxiety to conceal her features. But my mind had been running off Grace Poole, that living enigma, that mystery of mysteries, as I considered her. I had never thought of Mr. Rochester.
"Well,"
said he,
"what are you musing about? What does that grave smile signify?"
"Wonder and self-congratulation, sir. Have you permission to retire now, I suppose?"
"No. Stay a moment and tell me what the people in the drawing-room yonder are doing."
"Discussing the gypsy, I dare say."
"Sit down. Let me hear what they say about me."
"I had better not stay long, sir. It must be near 11 o'clock. Oh, are you aware, Mr. Rochester, that a stranger has arrived here since you left this morning?"
"A stranger? No. Who can it be? I expected no one. Is he gone?"
"No. He said he had known you long, and that he could take the liberty of installing himself here till you returned."
"The devil he did! Did he give his name?"
"His name is Mason, sir, and he comes from the West Indies, from Spanish Town in Jamaica, I think." Mr. Rochester was standing near me. He had taken my hand, as if to lead me to a chair. As I spoke, he gave my wrist a convulsive grip. The smile on his lips froze. Apparently a spasm caught his breath.
"Mason? The West Indies?"
he said, in the tone one might fancy speaking automaton to enunciate its single words.
"Mason? The West Indies?"
He reiterated, and he went over the syllables 3 times, growing in the intervals of speaking, whiter than ashes. He hardly seemed to know what he was doing. "Do you feel ill, sir?" I inquired.
"Jane, I've got a blow. I've got a blow, Jane."
He staggered. "Oh, lean on me, sir."
"Jane, you offered me your shoulder once before. Let me have it now."
"Yes, sir, yes, and my arm." He sat down. It made me sit beside him. Holding my hand in both his own, he chafed it, gazing on me at the same time with a most troubled and dreary look.
"My little friend,"
said he,
"I wish I were in a quiet island with you, and trouble and danger and hideous recollections removed from me."
"Can I help you, sir? I'd give my life to serve you."
"Jane, if aid is wanted, I'll seek it at your hands. I promise you that."
"Thank you, sir. Tell me what to do. I'll try at least to do it."
Fetch me now, Jane, a glass of wine from the dining room. They will be at the supper there. And tell me if Mason is with them, and what he's doing.
I went. I found all the party in the dining room at supper, as Mr. Rochester had said. They were not seated at the table. The supper was arranged on the sideboard. Each had taken what he chose, and they stood about here and there, in groups, their plates and glasses in their hands. Every one seemed in high glee. Laughter and conversation were general and animated. Mr. Mason stood near the fire, talking to the colonel and Mrs. Dent, and appeared as merry as any of them. I filled a wine-glass. I saw Miss Ingram watch me frowningly as I did so. She thought I was taking a liberty, I dare say. And I returned to the library. Mr. Rochester's extreme pallor had disappeared, and he looked once more firm and stern. I took the glass from my hand.
Here is it to your wealth, ministrant spirit,
he said. He swallowed the contents and returned it to me.
What are they doing, Jane?
Laughing and talking, sir.
They don't look grave and mysterious, as if they did hear something strange?
Not at all. They are all full of jests and gaiety.
And Mason?
He was laughing too.
If all these people came in a body and spat at me, what would you do, Jane?
Turn them out of the room, sir, if I could. He half smiled.
But if I were to go to them, and they only looked at me coldly and whispered sneeringly amongst each other, and then dropped off and left me one by one, what then? Would you go with them?
I rather think not, sir. I should have more pleasure in staying with you.
To comfort me?
Yes, sir, to comfort you, as well as I could.
And if they laid you under a ban for hethering to me?
I probably should know nothing about their ban, and if I did, I should care nothing about it.
Then you could dare chance her for my sake?
I could dare it for the sake of any friend who deserved my adherence, as you, I'm sure, do.
Go back now into the room, step quietly up to Mason, and whisper in his ear that Mr. Rochester is come and wishes to see him. Show him in here, and then leave me.
Yes, sir. I did his behest. The company all stared at me as I passed straight among them. I sought Mr. Mason, delivered the message, and preceded him from the room. I ushered him into the library, and then I went upstairs. At a late hour, after I had been in bed some time, I heard the visitors repair to their chambers. I distinguished Mr. Rochester's voice, and heard him say, "This way, Mason. This is your room." He spoke cheerfully. The gay tones set my heart at ease. I was soon asleep.